Now let me introduce Dr. Sven Goebel. Sven is, he should be in this country because he fits in so well with our style, and he is such a contributor. He's always willing to help. We communicate back and forth even though we're many hours away. He is just a class act. He is one of 3 double diamonds in our entire company. He is a 6-figure monthly earner, and most everything that's happening in Europe right now is downline of Sven. Just a great man. He's got some great insights and great wisdom. So would you all please welcome to the stage Dr. Sven Goebel.
Thanks, Todd. I feel like Michael Schumacher after one race, hearing the melody. Hello, everyone. I think it was exciting 2 days, and I feel very privileged, Todd, that you made me be the final speaker, especially after hearing from Gordon. But he put a lot of water on my mill, and I can relate to a lot of things he just said, and we are going to recover it and bring it close to our business model that you can take it home in a more practical way for you. I was thinking of what I'm going to do here, and I think it would just be fair to give you the same information I would give to my own people back in Europe, right or wrong. So I'm not going to make something up just because I'm here as a guest speaker. I'm not going to give you any kind of fulminant speech. I'm going to give you the basics, and I believe I'm going to challenge you a little bit for now and also for your future. Please apologize my girlish. I am from Germany. In the meantime, so this hymn was wrong. I am living in Switzerland, beautiful Switzerland, right in the Alps, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. But Todd dedicated an extra 5 to 8 minutes for me just to give you my Jeff Roberti story. And it's a fun story because basically the person wasn't here personally today, but he was mentioned from Gordon all the time, Jeff Roberti. I was privileged to meet him on my very second exposure on network marketing in person. And this is so rare, and more than ever today I know how much value this was to me and how it affected my life in this industry. Meeting Jeff Roberti, being at this time a young student at university studying chemistry, because that's my background. I met Jeff Roberti in February 1992 on my second network marketing meeting. In fact, it was my first bigger meeting about the size of that room, and it was taking place in Karlsruhe, south of Germany. And 3 days before, I was invited to my very first hotel presentation. About 15 people in the room, and some NSA people, Jeff Roberti, as said, was NSA Juice Plus. Some NSA people sat in the room, and I was invited by an old US man from Scottsdale, Arizona, who I answered on a newspaper ad he sent. So he wasn't even there, but I went there and took a friend because I didn't want to go by myself. And I had that presentation, and there were a lot of people on the stage, was talking about a good product and a good company and to make money on other people, this leverage thing. And since I was a scientist at this time, I understood some physics, and I said, well, this leverage thing, this is interesting. I looked deeper into it. So they announced this big event, announcing a huge leader coming down from the US, and you should see him be there. And I said to my friend, well, why don't we, before we make our decision, why don't we just drive down to Karlsruhe and listen to that event, go to this event. So that's what we did. And we were sitting on these 2 chairs here. Asset University, very familiar to me. The first row was always empty. No one sat there. But we sat in the second row on these 2 chairs. And the hosts were doing the meeting, and it was going on. And this guest wasn't in the room yet. But while the meeting was going, the door in the back suddenly opened. And I didn't have any eyes on my back head, but you know when energy changes in a room like this, that person came in. It was Jeff Roberti. He came in, and the energy changed in a fraction of a second. And the looks, I remember it as it would happen today. This guy, a young Florida boy, he was 27 years in 1992. Gordon, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was 27 years old. By that time already, he made over $7 million in this company. It was just a few years he joined prior joined NSA. He came in this light green suit, and he was wearing these light green gray crocodile cowboy boots with the exact same leather crocodile cowboy suitcase. You don't see those kind of people at university, especially when you study chemistry. And my professors look different. So it was quite a shock for me. He was very suntanned, and he had that incredible killing smile. It's a killer smile Jeff has, and he still has, I believe. I haven't seen him in many years, but he has that killer smile. He came in, he had these dark curly hair, and it was a bit too long on the back for my feelings, but he came in and he didn't walk through the aisle. He kind of, as if he was on a skateboard, he kind of, and I was sitting there, and I said to my friend, you know, we're sitting there, and the only tie we had was the leather tie, and we wore jeans. And I borrowed the jacket from my dad, so that's the kind of style. We were sitting there, and then there came this guy in, and then I saw his watch. It was one of these big Rolex watches. I mean, the wristband with all the stones on it, you would put that on a dog at a poodles contest, maybe. It was so weird from our perspective, by the way, not from his perspective. I'm not saying I disliked what I saw. I was just completely shocked, but in a positive way. Just like in a fraction of a second, a different world opened up for me. A world I just knew from movies, US movies. By the time I've never been to the US before, I thought, wow, this is life. It's true. People like that exist. And my friend and I were just looking at each other, but we were alerted. What's going to happen now? So that guy went on stage, and he was giving his waiter story. That he was a waiter, he talked to so many people. Everything Gordon just said, this was true. And then he said the magic number, $7 million in a few years only. And that was the key question I asked my friend. I said, Bernie, have you seen the guy? He said, you bet I did. He said, can you imagine that you and I together make just 10% of what that guy accomplished? Just 10%. You and I together. And he said, of course. And I said, let's go. That's enough for me. That's $700,000. That's a good reason to join today. And we joined this business. And I've been telling this story rarely, but over time, all the time, because having met Jeff Roberti, and I had the privilege to meet him again over the next few years on some conventions. I met him maybe 2 or 3 times in my network career in the last 17 years, but it was always an experience. And I gave him that story as well because I feel like Asterix and Obelix, I was dropped into that tank of magic drink. I never lost the forces just because of that one moment, because he envisioned the possibility of what's possible in this industry to me. That was my key experience having met Jeff. And I'm happy that you were here today, and I'm a little unhappy that Jeff wasn't here in person. And I think he kind of gave me the power, the dedication, and I learned what is possible in this industry. Now, I want to give some of the things I learned in the last 17 years. I want to give some of the things back to you. Because, as Gordon said, you have a very steep learning curve in this industry, and you never stop learning. I think I learned more in the last 2-3 years than I ever learned before in this industry. And thanks to my analytical and scientific background, I'm also kind of a process guy, and I can implement processes very quickly. And I always try to keep them simple, because that is what really duplicates. What I'm going to give you today, maybe as a kind of a wrap-up of what you've heard this weekend, is I'm going to give you the GPS system so that you always know where you are. You know, whenever you want to go towards a goal, it's good if you have a GPS knowing where your guidance is, which way to go, and what your next step is. And the system I'm using back in Europe has all the contents and similarities to what we've heard over this weekend, but it might help you to envision a little bit to where to place all that great content you got from these speakers. Most of the speakers gave you a list from 1 to 10, 1 to 11, 1 to 14. And if you add them all up, you will be at 125 maybe. But where do I use what? When do I use which kind of approach, which I got? They are all of such value. I'm going to give you the map on just 8 spots, and you can sort all the bullet points you got today from all the speakers on these 8 spots, and you know exactly where you are and what to use next and what to do next. Is that interesting? Want to proceed with that? Okay, good. Now, first of all, since I'm a guest here and I'm not very often here, let me give you a little bit background about what I like, what we do. I just recently bought one of these nice, you see a piece of it, a chalet here in the Swiss Alps in that little village overlooking the Brienzer Lake close to Interlaken. And that's one of the proofs that you can build a little empire by working from home. from a place where 15 years ago a cell phone didn't even work. Maybe not even 10 years ago the cell phone worked there. Today we've got high-speed internet connection and we can basically rule a business around the world from a spot which you just pick like we do in the Swiss Alps. We've got another nice apartment in the city of Frankfurt, but as it is with city apartments, we really love to be on the countryside and work from there. And as much as you work from any place else, you can Skype with your people, you can Skype around the world, you can Skype around Europe, you can work your organization from any place you like. And that's one of the lifestyles we enjoy. That's my family here. That's my oldest son. He's not here. Someone saw me Skyping with him a little earlier, right here from the seminar room. He has to be at school. Some of you have seen my little boy Colin at the boat last night. Yeah, he's exciting, and I just counted it up. He's 22 months old, and since he's alive and he was born, he has visited more countries than he's months old, thanks to the business. It's really true. If we count all the European countries with it, he has visited more countries than he's months old, thanks to that business. Because I try to bring my family to wherever I go in this business, because that's also part of my lifestyle. Well, what we do is, of course, since we live in Switzerland, this is right in front of my home door, we just jump on the skis. That's what we do for lunch break. And then we go back, work again. Also, we love riding our Harleys. This was on one of the incentive vacation trips in Florida 2 years ago, where the company invites us every year. I'm just here because we were on an incentive trip in Cancun, and I thought, well, 1.5 hour flight, just being here. Had I known what happens this weekend, I would have flown in 10 hours. And I'm going to bring a lot of people to Utah. You will see Europeans in Utah. Don't worry about that one. But I am going to fill the room from Europe in Utah, because I thought the value of this seminar was just outstanding, and it's hard for us to provide something like that for our people just by ourselves in Europe. Family time is very, very important. My network marketing career, it started in 1992 on this special day in February through kind of Jeffrey Bertie's presence. And with the company, I wasn't very long in NSA, I must really admit, because my upline recruited me into another company, and I didn't understand why, but I just followed, and it was not too bad, because I had the highest rank in this company, which, funny enough, was also a double diamond position as the first in the world in this company. But the company was growing so strong that they collapsed out of their own growth, and it is very hard if you have an organization. At this time, it was over 40,000 people in my organization, and the company goes out of business. I don't want you to experience that. And I was very hurt about that. It was a very hard time. You have to talk a lot of uncomfortable conversations to a lot of people, and you never want to experience that. That's why I was so sensitive in picking my next company, which had to be my final and last company, which was 8 years ago, Unicity, fortunately. But it took me 4 years when I went out of business before I was able to regain the power to get back into business and build a network again. What did I do in the meantime? I did some consultancy jobs for a lot of network marketing companies. I gathered some corporate experience. And that was also good, because I understand the corporate guys like Brent better, and maybe he appreciates that our discussions are sometimes rough, but most times, from my side, very understanding, right? And from his side as well. So we have a great relationship. So I started in Unicity in 2001. I made Sapphire in 2002. I became a Presidential Diamond Club member in 2006, Presidential Double Diamond Club member in 2008, being recognized on the Korea Convention. For those of you who haven't been there, you've seen the videos. It was amazing. I've never experienced recognition like that. And for those of you who will be a diamond or a double diamond on Thailand next year, you bet you will be applauded by your own knees when you are behind stage. And you know, and you know that there's even I don't know, the Korean army was walking up for us, and you had to get out there in these ropes. Unbelievable. I mean, I almost fainted. And I'm quite safe on stage today, but I fainted. It was unbelievable. So that was interesting. Of course, my goal will be to reach the next step and the next pin level, which would be a triple diamond, and there's a lot of work to be done until that. It's not a gift, it's not a party, it's hard work to be at the top and to achieve more ranks for all of us, not just for you. It's for all of us, the same kind of work, and it's hard work. But we'll do our best to, of course, also get to the next rank. So that's what I'm going to do. I've got 3 simple principles in my business life, which I'm always constantly teaching. The first one is follow the system. Follow the system your upline, the leader you trust, provides to you. And I know you've got great systems around here, and there's a lot of similarities which I've seen. Follow the system, duplicate the system, do not reinvent the wheel. Whatever you do, do it with real passion. Passion is very important, because if someone sees passion in you, most likely they're not trying to tear you down from it. They are going to respect you more if they see that what you do is done with a lot of passion. And always be very professional. You know, you want this business to become $1 million business for you, treat it as $1 million business. I'm going to give you a few examples when we do coaching to our leaders, because there can be a lot of mistakes can be made here. You know, please wash me, but don't get me wet. This doesn't work. You have to be professional from the very first day. Treat this business as if it does $1 million a year for you already. And then one day, most likely, it's going to do it. If you don't do that and you wait until the money comes, you can wait forever and the money will not come. At least not the money you're expecting. Well, that's all downline diamonds in my business in Europe, and half of them qualified last year. So last year, through Slim and through some new positioning of our business, we had a great explosion. I think it's already outdated. There's one or two more. That's Daniel Müller and Alex Krause. I've got 2 double diamonds in my organization. These guys have done a phenomenal job. And in many regards, they're even stronger than I am. And that's one of the secrets in this business. Look out for people who are stronger than yourself. And this creates independence and freedom. Don't make people dependent on you. Make them independent. Help them to become independent. If they don't need you, you are set free. You are free to do whatever you want, build new legs, or just retire. But that's what we ultimately go for after 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years. There's diamonds from Germany, from Switzerland, from Sweden, from Austria. So I think I've got diamonds in about 5 different countries in Europe already. It's a total of, I think, a little of 14, or maybe it's 16 today. I don't even know. I lost overview. And it's good if you start to lose overview on the exact number of diamonds in your organization. That's a great feeling. And I heard that from a traditional entrepreneur very much. He said, I see the big advantage of your business. When I lose control in my business goes down. When you lose control in your business goes up. And I said, you're really right. This is the way it works. Okay, well, I'm not going to cover a lot about Slim, because this business is really not about the product. As Armstrong says, this is not about the bike. It is not about the product. Also, a lot of people who think whenever they enter this business that this is about selling a product. And yes, selling a product to customers is part of our business, but it is not the business. It's just a little fraction of what we are doing. That's important to understand. So the new guy and the new girl, when they enter this business, they focus on the product. And this is okay. But focusing on the product at the same time wanting to become a millionaire, that doesn't really work. So later they shift their focus from the product to the business. And yes, leaders focus on the business. But there's another secret to it. This is not the ultimate thing to do. Focusing on the business is good. Understanding the business model is good. Running the business, driving the business is good. But the next quantum jump of really becoming a leader is to really understand what this is really about. Guess what it is about? Guess what this business is really about? Much more than just operating a business model or moving a product. What is it about? It is about relationships. And so who do you relate to? You relate to people. Yes. Product, business, people. This business is really about people. It's about you and her and him and us and me. It's about people. It's about relationship. This is the core DNA of this business. And if someone asks us what we are doing is, we are building people. Because we heard all about relationships, we heard about people, we heard about learning curves. Yes, we take people on a learning curve and we build people towards success. Someone who is a diamond in our company is a different person than he was when he entered this business. There's no exception. The personal growth in this business is just amazing. And this is very, very important, because you talk to a lot of people who may have been employees all their life. They made $3,000, $5,000, $8,000 a month. Let's take $5,000 as an example. You've got a person who's been making around $5,000 a month as an employee for 15, 20 years long. The whole life, including their social environment, is designed around $5,000. They drive a $5,000-like car. They go on $5,000 a month vacations. They live in a $5,000 worth of apartment. The way they dress, the watch they wear is kind of $5,000 income style. The people they are surrounded with, guess how much they make a month? Around $5,000, right? So the total mindset of that person is $5,000. It's the average $5,000 person living an average $5,000 life. And now you come up to this person and tell this person how he or she can make $50,000 a month. How does that sound to that person? Well, it sounds great, right? The question is, can you just turn the knob and make this person from a $5,000 person that has been for so many years into a $50,000 person? Or is there something that has to happen in between? Yes, absolutely. The $5,000 mindset has to develop into a $50,000 mindset with time. And then the money comes. It is not going to happen overnight. Yes, this business gives you the opportunity to become from a $5,000 person a $50,000 person a month, but there's definitely personal growth in between. Because if this person enters unicity and does not grow, guess where the check will stop? At $5,000 a month. Because the mind is the barrier. That's where it stops. But this business, the leaders, the input you get opens your mind up to whatever's possible, 50,000 and beyond. And we have the opportunity to build people towards that success. But this is a question of time, and this is a learning process, and this is a process of personal development. That's why we are not going to talk anymore about the product. I just want to show you a few results. That was me before Slim, and that was me after Slim working out. Today, if I would take my shirt off, I would look like a little bit in the middle of both pictures, because honestly, I had to stop working out. I didn't regain any weight, but I don't look as trained as I did, but I'm going to do this way in summer again. I had some reasons because of moving, building, constructing, that I wasn't able to work out. But what's possible with Slim, I felt better than I was with 25 after using Slim. It's an unbelievable product. So that just made given you as an example of what happened. Now, how do we work? It's very important that you understand the relation between business growth and personal growth. It's the $5,000 mindset which has to develop into a $50,000 mindset that matters. That's the difference between success and failure. So you always have to consider personal growth and business growth. Most of the leaders around this industry, 90% of their time, what they teach you is how to do this, how to do that, how to read this script, how to do this concept, how to use this system. Honestly, they fail 90% of the power in teaching you the real stuff. Much more than the how-tos are who are you, who to be, to eliminate personal showstoppers, to become a different person, to create attraction and action by attraction because you are a different person, like a magnet to other people. Guess what? We build a team, right? If you want to make 50,000, is your downline big or small? Hey, I tell you, with $50,000 a month, your downline is big. So you must have attracted some people into your business, right? Some people are attractors, some people are rejectors. Most of us are somewhere in the middle. We have skills and habits that attract people, and we have habits that reject people. And we have to be very aware of where our personal showstoppers are when it comes to attracting people, because we are not putting anyone on our payroll. We cannot force anyone to work with us. They do it for just one reason. They follow you whenever they have the impression that following you takes them further, takes them up, makes them succeed. The moment they doubt that, no matter what you tell them, they are not going to follow you anymore in this kind of business. So everything is about attraction and giving people the impression and make them believe, even more, make them believe that you can contribute in a positive way to their life and to their development. That's basically why people join our business. And the product, having said that, you start to understand that the product in that regard doesn't really matter as long as it is great. When you have a bad product in an industry like ours, forget it, doesn't work. But once the product's great, perfect, let it work for us, but forget about it. Don't talk about ingredients. Much more important are always the people you're going to lift to another level. Now, our organization is called People Builders because we believe that this is really about building people, and everything we do is about building people. My wife and I, we follow this phrase, it's your life, don't compromise. If you see young kids rise up like I see with my two boys, you know how fast you age, and I think there's no time for compromises. My wife and I, we live the way that we say either we do it 100% or we don't do it at all, no matter what it is. If we can't afford something we want to do, we don't do it at all until we can do it and we can afford it. That's a principle we've been living for many years, and it took us quite a way. We are not into any compromises. When I thought about what is important for making people grow, I thought about, well, what does really attract people? What really makes people happy? What is important into people's life? What are they going for that makes them want to get into action? And basically we came up with about 6 aspects in life which matter to people, which are, and I'm going to wrap that up because I want to show you the system around it, which are basically those 6. Let's start here. Of course, everyone wants money and finances. They have to be okay. Everyone wants to have a good, safe job, which is fun. And all the people want to live a lifestyle. The other things, great relationships, a good health condition, and personal development. All these things are important for a person, that a person in life is happy. If one thing of the 6 is missing in a person's life and is smashed, the person is definitely not happy. So these things relate to each other. And what's very important to understand is that there's a difference between the upper 3 and the lower 3. We call the upper 3 the outer worlds, we call it rubber balls, and the below 3 is the crystal balls, which is called the inner wells. What is the difference? Well, if you drop a rubber ball, what happens? You drop a rubber ball, it bounces back, right? It comes back. So when it drops, not a problem, it bounces back. Hey, who of you has the experience of having money, less money, more money, less money? I mean, we don't need to talk about that in today's times right now. Same with the career. Hey, you lost your job, so what? Maybe it's for a better one. It's a rubber ball. Bounces usually back. You get into the next one. Same with the lifestyle. Hey, I had to sell my boat. What's the problem? Bought a new car. A few years later, never wanted a boat again. Nice experience. For example, bounces back and forth. It is definitely different with the crystal balls when it comes to relationship, health, and personal development. Once you lost your health in a serious way, it is hard to get back. So you don't want to play with that. You don't want to mess with that. Same with relationships. Once a relationship is smashed, and Todd said that very clearly yesterday in his speech, when trust is broken, it is not coming back. So that's a crystal ball that breaks when it falls down. And the same is with your personal development. Once you decide to leave the learning curve, once you decide not to invest anymore in yourself, you can be rest assured that this is hard to turn around again and you will be going down personally. So that's basically the crystal balls and the rubber balls out there. Now what happens is, when people want to change something in life, what do they automatically focus on? Do they focus on the rubber balls or do they focus on the crystal balls? What do all these motivational trainers teach all day? They teach rubber ball stuff. How to make more money, how to get a great job, how to have a great lifestyle. That's the kind of motivational short-term non-working trainings you get all around, and you pay a lot of money for them. They don't understand that focusing on the rubber balls is going to eliminate your crystal balls. And once your crystal balls are eliminated, your life is not worth a lot anymore. Let me show you why this is the case. Let me show you the relationships of these 6 different aspects in life. And I'm going to teach that to you because then you understand what we base our training and our system on. That's the core understanding on what we base our system on when it comes to personal development. Let's take the axle here between career and health. How many people you know who focus on their job like crazy, who work themselves to death, who have to invest like crazy, and at the same time they risk their health, so already their health is gone? Do you know any of those people? Especially in the kind of heart disease area, right? Working, at the same time the health is going away. Does it happen in the States? It happens in Europe, it happens in the States. It happens all the time. Too much focus on job and job only, disregarding the health, is going to result in a lack of health. Okay? Look at the focus lifestyle. What happens if people always focus on these old approaches like my car, my house, my boat? How does it affect relationships? It affects relationships in a negative way. People get jealous. People get greedy. They don't grant you what you've got because they feel you're only interested in objects and not in them. We all know people like that. It happens. So focus on all these lifestyle toys, when it comes to toys, is going to kill relationships. What about people who only are interested in money, 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 money? Only money, just cash, nothing else. What about their investment in personal development? It's not very much because they're interested in money. They don't invest in personal development. They don't want to grow. They want their money to grow, but they don't want to grow. It happens a lot. So what happens is focusing on these three rubber balls results in a lot of the crystal balls in life, and this is a very dangerous thing to do. Having said that, I understand, and I'm not an exception, we all like these rubber balls in abundance. We all want to make a lot of money. We all want to live a great lifestyle, and we want to all have all these toys which you can possibly have, and we all want to have a great career and a great job. And yes, we all deserve to have all these things. The question is, how do we get there? How can Unicity help us getting there? What do we have to focus on in order to get there? We have to focus on the crystal balls in order to achieve those desired rubber balls. Let me show you why this is the case. Let's just turn it around. It's pretty simple. How successful would you consider a person who is in a top health condition? Healthy, sportive, charismatic, good-looking, fully focused. Is that a success factor in business? Yes or no? It is absolutely. So focus on health, focus on your body, focusing on your spirit, on your mind, on everything that's related to health is going to give you a great career in any kind of business, not just in ours. What about if you are a relationship expert? If you have an excellent relation to your family members, to your kids, to your parents, to all your relatives, to your friends, to the people you know around you, neighbors, people at work. What if you have an excellent relationship to everyone you know? Let's say you are the relationship expert. How would that influence your lifestyle? Good or bad? It would really, really affect your lifestyle in a very positive way. If you know how relationships work, if you are a relationship expert, if you try to become a relationship expert, you will have any kind of lifestyle at any time, wherever you are in the world. And this is not just the toys. Lifestyle is much more than toys. But you experience that once you become a relationship expert. And the last thing, personal development. Hey, this question has already been answered. You are the $5,000 mindset person. What if you grow into a $10,000, $15,000, $50,000 mindset person? Personal growth, personal development, investment in yourself. How will it affect your finances? It will affect your finances in a positive way. Okay? Now you will receive rubber balls in abundance when you focus on your crystal balls. And this is a very, very interesting lesson because this circle has helped me a lot on focusing on the right things in order to achieve the things I really wanted. It's mostly not the direct way, it's the indirect way. Now look at the circle again and think about how unicity affects these 6 areas. Look at our business model. Very simple question. Do we have something that affects health of people in a positive way? Our products do, right? We can do a lot of things here for ourselves and for others. Is this business somehow related to relationships and to relationship building? It definitely is. It is a relationship business. Does this business has to do and deals with personal development? Oh yes, it does. Can you make money in this business? Oh yeah, you can. You bet. Can you live a great lifestyle from what you're making here in terms of time freedom and financial freedom? Absolutely. And in today's time, is Unicity a great job to be in? Is it a great career to build? Yes or no? It is. Now look at that. All the 6 important points in life can be positively affected by Unicity. But since we know that it's the crystal balls that matter in order to receive the rubber balls, we know now what we have to focus on. And this is building relationships, person develop, and be in a good health condition. Now, as we don't do product training, product education, or all that kind of product stuff, just eat it and be happy, right? So we don't talk about this part right now. Eat it and the product will take care of you. That's what I can flat guarantee you. And I'm talking here as a PhD in chemistry. I know some things about the product, but just eat and be happy. It's not going to take you anywhere knowing what happens in your body. Just eat and be happy and get the charisma to build your career, right? Okay. Now, when it comes to personal development, this is an essential part of getting people to make money in this business. Now, let's focus on how we use this knowledge, what I just showed you in that simple circle, for our system, which we use on a day-to-day basis and on the day-to-day work. Now, we always talk, and we heard a lot about personal growth and growth in general. So what we apply as a fundament in our system is the principle of growth. And this is logical to do because if you want your business to grow, you need to grow first. It's not your business first and then you need to grow first and your business follows. That's a very simple principle. It's the principle of seeding and harvesting, right? If you keep being who you are, you will keep doing what you always did and you will keep receiving what you always received. That's the principle of seeding and harvesting. A very simple thing. Now, there's you and there's your business. Both of which need to grow. Now, guess what's first? You grow first, business follows. You grow first, business follows. For example, in this business, you decide to get started and you start as a manager, right? And then you start working. And you have a great education, you follow a great system, you do the right things, you are focused, you are dedicated. And you grow, you learn, you do things you've never done before, and you will get a different result. Meaning, you will become director. Suddenly you're on stage, Brent Boyle comes up, pin. Some people don't really know why they got the pin, but they are happy about it. And they don't know why they got the checks with all the bonus pools, you lose over a few, but there's a few $1,000s on your bank account suddenly. Pretty impressive experience already as a director, or if you grow a little further, as a senior director. Now then you need to go further. And what happens is, and it happens to all the leaders all the time, and it will happen to you, people will come up to you and say, you know what, I feel I'm at a position right now, my business doesn't take me any further. I'm at a spot where I don't experience any more growth. I feel my business is just flat. And the simple answer which you can give to the person is that is a very good position to be in. And they say, why that? Said, this is just a signal for you that your business sends you that it is you now to grow again. Business has grown behind you. If your business is stagnant, it's time for you to grow, to get new ideas, to try new things, to do different approaches, and to work a little harder and maybe a little bit more disciplined to experience growth again. And guess what happens if you do that? Your business will grow again because it always follows you. But you have to start. You have to initiate the next level of growth. So that's how you get good, better, and finally excellent. Now what you're seeing is this is the pins of our career up to diamond, right? What you see is that both pillars are important. If one pillar isn't there, the pin would fall off because it is right between the two pillars. And one of the pillars, this is yourself, and the second pillar is your business. Now, understanding that, we based our system on that, and we based our system, we have these 4 letters. We have personal growth system and a business growth system. The training about the personal growth is called KASH, K-A-S-H. And Stuart has taught that many times. I'm sure you heard that as well. This is all about personal growth. And the other system is KISS which we developed already back in 1994, which is the daily activity cycle in your business. Most of the people, most of the leaders, they just train KISS because KISS is all about the how-tos. And you've heard a lot of these things today, so I'm going to make that real quick. But what's more important and even a little more complicated is the KASH, because KASH is about you. KASH is about the individual. KASH is about eliminating personal showstoppers from a person as a coach, upline, or mentor once you see them. And this needs some kind of trust. I'm going to give you some fun examples how some of my leaders became from rags, like having nothing, up to becoming a very great Diamond Club member within 1 or 2 years only, because they changed their KASH factor. Very important. Okay, now, the KISS is simple. You've seen things like that all the time, and I don't want to interfere with your concept. What we do is we have divided our business principles, our business steps in just 4 simple steps, which is K for contact. It's C. I know it's C, and a KASH is a C, but it's a K. But we just changed it because in German it fits better. It's called Kontakt. Yeah, Kontakt. So contact, and the contact is just a quick approach. The only idea you have in making a contact is creating curiosity, but never ever sharing information. It's very important that you understand the difference between making a contact and sharing information. Yeah, information is only the next step. Making a contact is a question of a few seconds only, and it's just to create curiosity. The moment you have curiosity, you do the next step, and you share information with the person. Sharing information has to result in a decision, and we want a smart decision from our prospect. A smart decision is more important than a decision. I prefer a smart no more than an unintelligent yes, because it's a waste of time if someone said yes to your business and later regrets it and costs you time. So a smart no, a wisely made no is very fine to me. It doesn't cost me any more time. I can just say, let's go to the next one. Because this business, as heard many times this weekend, is not for everybody. So a smart no is a fair no. Accept it, say thank you. We talk later again and move on to the next one. So we want to have a smart decision. And from a smart decision, of course, you start the person up. So you do the strategy meeting, the startup meeting. And what you want to have as a result from starting someone else is, of course, activity. So everyone who starts, you want to put him into action. What sense does it make to start someone up and he's inactive? Doesn't make much sense. So activity is the next step. And the final step, of course, is system or school, meaning duplication of what you're doing. It's a very, very simple business principle. And what we have done so far in order to make this cycle work for us quickly and quickly and quickly and quickly and quickly is, of course, we have the right tools, which is all the contact tools like our very nice Slim Biz cards. I like the Slim Biz card because it's just slim and it's slim on it. And if you hand that out to someone, people say, hey, what are you doing? This looks interesting. Well, that's a contact. I created curiosity. And then I'm not going to give him a lesson. I'm saying, hey, if you want to know, let's meet for a cappuccino in the lobby of the Hyatt Net tomorrow. When's a good time for you? So I set an appointment after getting curiosity on a one-on-one. I'm a deep believer on one-on-one presentations or one-on-X. I became an absolute enemy of weekly hotel meetings because there's a lot of downsides to that. But I'm a real believer in person-to-person meetings or in home-based meetings. Ed Tost gave you the lesson. It's the backbone of this industry. And disregarding technology, it will always be in the future the backbone of this industry. One-on-ones. This is the essence. Why does it work? Because this is all about relationship. This is the salt in the soup. You can hand out a mini flyer, you can send them to the website, and the best contact tool is the mobile phone. Have you ever had that? You talk to someone and he says, oh, I don't know anybody. Well, give me your mobile phone. Click, 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 click. Who do you want me to call? Right? Oh, here. Dave Miller. Hey, Dave, how are you doing? Well, I've got Todd's mobile phone here, and he just wasn't sure whether he knew you. How are you doing? Or whatever, I mean. Well, he will suddenly remember Dave, right? We just called him. So your mobile phone is the great name list. I mean, you can do a lot of contacts. And you can say, okay, by the way, Dave, you don't know me, but Todd and I, we want to meet you for coffee. When is the right time for you? Or whatever. I mean, you can do fun things. But if someone tells me I don't know anybody, give me your mobile phone. Never ever I found someone who had an empty address book. I mean, that's a real poor individual if he had an empty address book. But it doesn't happen. Okay, Well, what's also important is making a contact. When we talk about the K from KISS, is always personal and never ever per email. Don't do that. And I know you've got a great tool we do not have yet in Europe, which is Unicity Video, and I'm going to talk about this in a second. But don't send a video, and I'm sure you teach that, just to a cold contact. Say, hi, my name's Todd, and you have to watch that video. Don't do that. You want to talk to a person first and get approval to send a video over. That's why Unicity Video, to me, is not a contact tool, it's an information tool. It belongs to information, because it gives information about the product, gives information about the business, and all these great things. Business presentation, quick presentation. We provide great business presentations on and offline for our teams, and I'm sure you've got the same things. And as I said, Unicity Video is the perfect information tool, and I'm happy if we get that in Europe very soon as well. Sharing information is for getting a decision of your prospect. Most successful are one-on-ones or two-on-one presentations. Hotel meetings are, for several reasons, outdated because it doesn't make the person grow bringing the guests. You focus your guests on the speaker gets better, he thinks he gets paid for speaking, not for building, and you sitting next to your guest, you do nothing and you don't grow. But being thrown in the cold water by your host in your own home, doing part of the presentation as Todd does, this makes you grow, and this makes you become a leader, and this brings you on the learning curve. That is why it's so important. Good, we've got start manuals in many different languages downloadable from the website, goal setting agreements. There is a franchise application form in there, initial order form, easy ship agreement, starting correctly as a manager. Why as a manager, not as a 250? What's the advantages? It will explain the bonus pools. We have to adjust them to all the news, which we got in 2009. It has frequently asked questions in it. That's the perfect tool for starting, learning at the same time, and producing activity for a new person. So that's what we do as the next step. And then, of course, we do system, school, and education. And you've heard a lot about monitoring activities, monitoring results. We've got the same thing. We've got an activity sheet similar to yours, of course, which we use because we cannot help our people if we don't see what they have been doing, where the weaknesses are, where the strengths are. And that's our job as coaches and uplines. That's why it's important that people who are serious follow the activity monitor. You can download those from unicitytraining.com, and I can also just stress, use them, take advantage of them. Just don't play, and occasionally just play serious. That's very important. So what we teach in our training is the growth principle, the keys, the catch, the important questions, selective training, and so on. It's just 4 letters. And what you see in these 4 letters is that all the how-to approaches you got in this weekend can somehow be sorted into these 4 letters. It was either a contact approach and a contact training. It was a training on how to do good presentations or what to use to do a presentation. It's about how to start someone up or to duplicate. Educate means how to use the final S, which is the school. Everything you heard about how-tos can be just put, that's the GPS, can be put on those 4 letters. And you can just plug them on the 4 letters. There's not more you need in this kind of business when it comes to business development. Okay, now, this is what Stuart's quote he gave me from Thomas Monson. When performance is measured and reported back, the rate of improvement accelerates. That's why you need the activity monitor. Now what we are using here is a very, very perfect tool, because remember what Gordon just said. What were the 4 core elements of making money? 1, people, system, innovation, and personal development. So what will we talk here today? We talked about people, we talk about a system, we are going to talk about innovation in a second, and we are talking about personal development all the time. So here it is. Unfortunately, this beamer doesn't display very nicely, but what we've been doing is we've been using a coming standard for transporting information to our people. We know it is about personal growth. And when a new person starts the business, you better steal from Stuart Yu's reading list. You look at his reading list and you read whatever he puts on there, because you bet this is input you want to have, right? The last one he was publishing was the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. Well, I don't know that word, but I understand the 21 laws, and they are great. It's really a great book, and I always follow his advices, and I follow other people's advices I count as my mentors in order to get great input. But in today's times, people are too nervous to sit next to their fireplace and read a good book because they have so many thoughts in their minds. So you have to be a little smarter. You have to give them the input on a more techy, fancy, more useful way. And what other than any kind of standard coming technology is there than just the iPod? Who of you knows what an iPod is? Well, most of you do, if not all. Who of you has an iPod? Oh yeah? Wow, that's US, great. Who of you has kids who have an iPod? Well, that's the other part of the group. So everyone has access to an iPod. And I've got a little iPod Nano here. And it was the idea of my 10-year-old boy. He asked me, hey, Dad, if you start to use iPod now to educate your people, let's try whether it fits in a slim bag. And the slim bag is perfectly made for our iPod Nano. It just fits perfectly. And this is now the tool. And what do you think of the color, right? And you even get a free engraving on the back if you order it on Apple's website. Well, don't worry, I'm not a representative of Apple, but I'm a great fan of this device. So we solved long-distance education. We solved the problem of getting the right brain food into people's minds in this business. Because using an iPod is a no-brainer. Everyone has, whether it's a PC or a Mac, has iTunes installed on their computers. So the only thing you do is you subscribe to the podcast on my website or on Todd's website whenever he publicly starts to work with podcasts. And the only thing you do, you charge it at your computer and automatically you don't even see it. What happens is the latest trainings and input gets played on your iPod. Next morning when you go to work, you can just plug it in and you can listen to it. Isn't that great? Isn't that a useful technology? We have great success. Our people, we just do that a few weeks, but the people are so excited. And what I'm doing is I give an iPod, a free iPod Nano to everyone who makes senior director in his first month. I mean, this thing costs $150. How much do I make on a frontline person making senior director the first month? A few thousand, right? Or 1,000. So that's just worth it. Also, whenever we do a meeting like that, one of the participants gets a new branded and engraved iPod about the event. We are sharing iPods all the time because we want people to use them and to listen to the stuff. No matter how old you are, no matter how much an enemy of technology you are, using an iPod is easier than using your cell phone. And everyone can use a cell phone. Everyone will be able to use an iPod. It's a standard, and we just take advantage of this new technology, educating our people. And also, it's a great recruiting tool because if you talk to an industry-savvy person, before they even meet you, you bet they have researched your company, they know all about your product, they have read the internet. That's what they are not up to talk to you about. What they want to know is Todd. If I was interested in Unicity, I don't want to hear from Todd about Unicity. I've read it all before I even met him, otherwise we wouldn't have had an appointment. But what I want to know from him is, Todd, what do you bring to the table? If I join to you, I bring all my people to you, what is the system you work with? How do you educate your people? How do you solve the long-distance sponsoring? I'm here to build an international business. How can you help me? You want me to travel all the time? All the bugs on the windshield every day, every night? Not so much. Yes, we have to travel. We have to be there one-on-one, and I'm traveling a lot. But not all the time, because I can be smart and use technology. And he would put this little thing on the table and say, you know what? It is not 1995 anymore, Sven. It is 2009. That is what, if he would put that on the table and say, this is how I deliver the trainings to my people almost in real time, I would buy it from him. I'd say, this is a good idea. I like that. That guy's smart. He does great things. He uses standard technology as an advantage for his business. I like people like that. So you can use that. And people like to do fun things. Using that is fun. It's a lifestyle product. It really fits into our idea and concept. So just to let you know that we work with that little iPod and we just have our podcast. A lot of them are in English, so whenever you go to my website, peoplebuilders.biz, download a few of them and you are going to hear the episodes of this training as a podcast because that's what I promised my European people. I said, you know, I will be here in Florida, but we are going to make a podcast of each and every speaker so you can listen to that seminar as if you were there, if you don't mind, Todd. Yes. The website address of my website and all the with all the system and concept is peoplebuilders.biz, B-I-Z, peoplebuilders.biz or peoplebuilders.eu for Europe. Okay? So that's basically what we do. And before I finish, let me talk a little about the KASH, because this is more important, because this is about you. This is about eliminating your showstoppers. This is about little things matter. Because the initial training of Todd, which he gave yesterday, was a KASH training about the little things. It can be the tie. I have a question for Todd. This morning I was in a dilemma. I had the choice between being right in time or correcting my tie. What would you pick? Okay. This is solution-oriented thinking. Okay. Yeah, by the way, the iPod Nano even boosts your sport activity because they have a cooperation with Nike. And if you start to walk, to run, to work out, this even monitors your statistics. I think this is also pretty good for our slim business. So that's the real life-saving device, both in business and your health. Very good device, and that's what we want to work with. Maybe you want to adopt that. I'd be happy if we do podcasts together because we can share it with all the world in any language. And it's easy to do, as long as you use a Mac. Okay. Okay, here's a wrap up for the KISS. Let's just jump to the next point. And let's talk a little about KASH. My team and the leaders over time, and we're working this system KISS and KASH for more than a year now, they come up to me and say, you know what we realized? We've been doing and teaching KISS all the time, all the how-to-dos to our people, and they are of a lot of value. But they say, today we understand that the KASH is even more important than the KISS. And it's much more important than the KISS because it is about you. Now let's talk about that. KASH stands for knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits. And what is important is that each person is so much different. But a high KASH factor, as we say, is directly proportional to a high attraction factor. And you need to attract people in order to make this business work for you. People have to like to be around yourself. And if you get some experience in that, and someone comes up to you and says, oh, I work so hard, but no one joins my business, and you are saying that, you sometimes understand on the first sight why this is the case. It might be the too short tie, it might be the hair growing out of the nose, whatever it is. For the men, I mean, for the ladies. For the ladies, bad, even worse. Don't want to sign up with that. I'm just joking. It might be these little things that really matter, and Todd gave a training about it, so I'm not going to cover that, but I'm going to give you some live examples. For example, with my Swedish leader who was having a very low KASH factor in the beginning. Today he's got a high KASH factor, and he's a Presidential Diamond Club member in the meantime. But let's talk about the K first, with its knowledge. And we heard that many times this weekend. Product knowledge is important, but please do not become a product expert, because product experts do not duplicate in our business. Same thing with the compensation plan. Do not become a compensation plan expert, because compensation plan experts do not duplicate in our business. You have to have knowledge about people. You have to understand what drives them. And yes, become a people's expert. When you are a people's expert, you will attract people and you will be duplicating your business. Attitude. You know, out of the 8 letters, KISS and KASH, KISS and KASH, the A for attitude is the #1 most important letter. Everything falls and rises with attitude. Attitude is very important, and you need the right attitude towards the business model, networking. If you don't believe in our business model, if you are ashamed for your business model, it's not going to work for you. You have to be very strong about your business model. And you have to understand that this is a business model about the future, because if you look into economic trends, you will see that in the year 2020, 80% of the people, including all employees, will work from home, because technology allows them to work from home. They are not time-oriented workers anymore. They are performance-oriented workers. Everything will be measured by performance, not by time anymore. 9 to 5 is not going to happen in the future. It will be productivity that matters, even for employees. And you can do that from any place you like. Best is a place where you're creative, where you feel well, because you're more productive there, and this is your home. So home-based business is going to be a future business, and we are already there. And it's not 2020, it's 2009. See? But you have to understand that in order to become strong and have a strong feeling about our business model. That's just one example. Same with the company. When my company went out of business, which I was in previously, I was very, very carefully picking the next company. I never, ever wanted to have that happen again, that I have a huge organization, but the company is going away. Fortunately, it doesn't look that here in Unicity. I think we picked the best company we could possibly pick. And I think we have a great future ahead of us with all the management. And I'm so grateful that a person like Stuart Hughes is leading this company because, as I always say, in his breast, our heart is beating because he's one of us. He knows what we need because he's been one of the distributors. And that's very good to be guided by someone who has all that experience he has. And I think we have a great future ahead of us. So you have to be strong about our company, which is pretty easy. And it's also pretty easy to become strong about our products because we are a science-based company. We have a great background of science. We have top superior quality products. They work. We all feel them work. So that's also a no-brainer of having a good attitude towards the company. But what's not so easy and what's most important is you have to have the right attitude towards yourself. Because this is what you mirror, this is what people see, and attitude is the most important thing. And the trainings you got this weekend when it was about attitude, and there was a lot of trainings going GPS-wise, here on that point, KASH, yeah, it's about attitude towards yourself. That is very, very important. Let me tell you a short story about my friend Bo Sundberg from Sweden. He's a Presidential Diamond Club member from Sweden. Bo and I, we've been traveling a lot in Sweden, starting up his business. And he's driving this old 300,000 kilometer van, a Chrysler van, an old van. And it can be pretty hot, not like in Florida, but it can be pretty hot in Sweden in the summer, over 30 degrees, which is 90 Fahrenheit something. And we've been driving this, and his air condition didn't work. And we were sitting there, I was sitting there in a suit next to him, the sun on my side. And we were driving to the next city, and I looked at Bo, and I said, you know what, Bo? I hate driving in your car. He was looking at me, he kind of offended. So, well, you know I'm not making much money. How can you say that? I knew he was offended, and it was on purpose to offend him. I said, Bo, don't get me wrong. I don't have a problem that your car is old, but just tell me why an old car has to be dirty and messy. Okay. Next morning, next trip, 7 o'clock, he went to the washing agency, whatever. And at 8 o'clock after breakfast, I jumped into an old, clean, tidy Chrysler van. So we're driving, and I asked Bo, I said, Bo, how do you feel? He said, oh, I feel great. How do you feel driving a clean car, which is not messy? I said, better. I said, okay. How do you think this is going to affect your next appointment? Good or bad? Good. I said, okay, let's talk further. He always comes up with a jacket, a shirt without a tie, and he wears jeans. Semi kind of casual stuff. And I'm always wearing a suit when I go for appointments. I didn't like him wearing jeans. So I said, while we were driving, I said, Bo, when you're invited to a wedding, what do you wear? Well, I wear a suit or a tuxedo. I said, okay. Would you attend a wedding in jeans? He said, no. I said, why not? He said, well, it's not appropriate. I said, okay. What's more important to you? The business and your future and your family, or someone else's wedding? He says, well, of course, my business. I say, then explain to me, please, why you're wearing jeans and think this is appropriate, wanting to build a life for your family, and at the same time you would wear a tuxedo or a suit going to anyone else's wedding. He said, you're right. I said, Bo, look at me, look at you, tie, suit. Never ever was something else after that. I asked him again, I said, Bo, how do you feel? He said, I feel great. How does it affect your next appointment? Well, it affects it positively. I say, okay, great. Next thing, let's look at your agenda, your leather map. Here, this kind of thing. Can I borrow this for a second? It looks great. It looks great. Yeah, it looks great. Well, not so much anymore. Let's look inside, but no, it looks great. You know, he had this old leather bag. There were torn papers inside. They were crumpy. And whenever he was an appointment and he had to pull out the comp plan or something else, he had to look for it. I didn't like that. I said, look, always be professional. That's what we are teaching. So I taught him how to set up his map professionally, getting all the stuff in, all the material we deliver, all the presentations, all the follow-ups, all the startup manuals, just to have it clack, clack, clack right on time. In the meantime, he's even having a white MacBook, having everything sorted up. So little things matter, but we set all these things up so that he was perfectly equipped. And now, think about Bo Sundberg driving with his old, dirty, messy Chrysler van in jeans with an old, totally messed up bag to his prospect. And today, he's totally organized, professional, gives him a lot of self-confidence. What difference does it make? I can tell you what the difference is. It is the difference between being a senior director and a diamond within only 1 year. That was the difference for Bo Sundberg. Little things matter. So that's part of the KASH training. It's a 4-hour training, so I only have -5 minutes. So I can't give you any more examples, but I could give you a lot of examples. Just take from this that you have to get out of your own body for 1 day and just walk next to yourself and watch yourself and find out where your personal showstoppers could be. The dirty car is a showstopper. The jeans is a showstopper. The tie, which is too short, is a showstopper. There can be so many different kinds of behaviors that can be showstoppers. But if you try to improve on these showstoppers, and if you have someone telling you the showstoppers, you bet you are going to do better because you're more attractive. And when you're more attractive, you will get more people wanting to be with you. And if you have more people wanting to be with you, you'll have more people in your team. And if you have more people in your team, you will have a bigger organization. And if you have a bigger organization, you'll get a bigger check. And if you get a bigger check, you will have the life you want to live. So thanks for everything. Thanks for inviting me. And have a great time and good luck. Bye-bye. Thank you.